Okay, here we are back in our um, podcast. It is now the AI Academics Podcast. Welcome back, everyone that is tuning in live now. Maybe you're joining us on X, maybe you're joining us on LinkedIn, maybe you're joining us on YouTube. And we welcome all of you. And we're excited to be chatting about AI again today.
Yeah,
And yeah, Vugar just told me he is traveling right now, and the
yeah,
heat is just gotta hold on all of us. There's a lot of heat here, but there's also a lot of heat, I think, where you're at, right?
yeah,
Rudy?
exactly. So, hello everyone. I think this is our second live session simultaneously on different platforms. And thank you again, Leonard, for arranging all the background technicalities of this. Yeah, I am. I was in Europe, so I live in Germany normally, but in these days, I am visiting Azerbaijan, and that was very hot in Europe, and next week will be hotter, and here also, and a lot of hot topics is going on AI as
The
well.
weather is not
Usual.
just hot; the topics are hot too.
Yeah, topics are always hot,
Very
even in the winter.
yes, yes,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
true.
Yeah, very
So
exciting. Very exciting that you're traveling, that you're getting a little bit of a journey there in the summer. And yeah, so I think, did you want to give a quick roadmap? I think we have a couple of
yeah,
announcements that I wanted to do, but I can do that. Why don't you give a quick roadmap? This, I think, two things we wanted to talk about.
exactly. The first one, I saw a very nice list which you shared today, and
Yeah,
I
let's
definitely want,
share that
yeah, to
just in a
talk
second.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe you can also put it on the screen. I don't know if it is possible.
I will. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so you share the list of. So we will talk about these 10 reliable AI tools, which could be useful for academic workflows. And second topic, by the way, today's session will be a bit shorter. We have to say that as well. And the second topic is about AI clones, which is recently we saw a post about it, which is talking about these AI clones. So one of the person discovered herself. So her face was used to generate clones for totally different purposes that she wasn't aware of. So basically, these two topics for today we have. So
Yeah.
that's it. Maybe we can start with your list. So what was your on your mind, Leonard, when you prepared this list? And I see a lot of nice tools. All of them I know, but I tested most of them. And
Yeah.
maybe you can
Here's
give
the
us a
list.
brief. Yeah.
Here's a list that I just tweeted about. So I kind of tweet this list like once a year, just kind of add apps to it. Sometimes, I have discussions with potential sponsors. As you know, we kind of work with some of these companies. In this case, this is just kind of my personal take on the ones that I like to use, and that I find myself using quite a bit. Um, I think they're really useful for a lot of academics that are trying to make sense of all of the AI stuff out there. Of course, you also know we have this AI webinar where we talk about tools quite a bit. The QR code is up on the top there. If you're interested in that at any point in time, feel free to scan that and hop over to our webinar where we kind of teach you a lot of tools. Not all of the ones that I wrote here, but definitely a large part of the ones that I wrote about here. I think, yeah. So, why did I put typing mind first? I've just kind of been monitoring what I've been using a lot, and I have been really enjoying this. This is just a UI essentially. So it's just a front end, a nice front end to access all of the big APIs. So accessing Anthropic's Claude
Claude.
API and the OpenAI's ChatGPT or GPT for AI. API, sorry, and also Gemini from Google, and a bunch of others. You can even install your own Llama instance on your local computer and access it that way. It's a really nice way of locally anyway. So it's essentially just a UI runs in your browser, um, being able to access these different tools, and then to save your prompts, and to have little bits and pieces in your prompts where you can, modify parts of it. One of the things that we learned early on from Rob Lennon was, it's really nice if you have these mega prompts, but you kind of edit parts of it. So a lot of the prompt can stay the same because these are kind of standard instructions. And of course, we all know custom instructions at this point. But one of the nice things is to be able to add some bits and pieces in there and modify them. And specifically for workflows where you find yourself using things over and over again. So I've been really enjoying that quite a bit. I don't know if you've used it. It's definitely quite a useful tool for me. And they're about to change their pricing very soon, I think in a week from now. And then they're going to be a SaaS. Right now, they had this lifetime price where they really kind of and I have an affiliate link which I should have put in there, but I didn't.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
YouTube video.
sure,
I have a nice affiliate link for them. But anyways,
sure.
yeah. So they're switching to monthly payments and annual payments, which I think a lot of them are doing. But yeah, it's been
Yeah,
nice.
please put this link in the description, and also please give it to me, and I will also put under the description part of this YouTube video. So now it is live, but if you are
Yeah,
watching this video later, you can definitely check the link in the description to the Typing Mind from
yeah.
Leonard.
Let me just see if I
So
can generate it quickly. But yeah, you just give me some feedback on this.
yeah, I think we talked about this tool in one of personally. I haven't used it, but I saw a lot of posts and checked a couple of videos on YouTube about Typing Man. I personally checked their website. I checked another. I already used another alternatives, but this one is having really nice, very simple interface, and it's kind of all in one tool where you can have access to all, let's say, famous guys in the town at the same time, like ChatGPT, as you mentioned, Claude, and Gemini at the same time. So as you also mentioned, it's also possible to install your own local llama. So so
Yeah,
accessing all this in one place, maybe it is even better option to have. But we have to mention that if you are using the API of the certain services, you are paying for the usage. So the more you use, the more you pay, and so that's actually how it works. But this tool gives you one clean interface where you can integrate all tools all together, and it saves you time, while because you don't navigate between the tools, you don't need to switch between the tools, right on one interface. And I find that one very handy feature.
yeah. I just put the link in there, by the way. So if anyone's watching this and
Perfect,
wants to scan that
perfect.
QR code, they can just use my affiliate link. But yeah,
Yes, give.
so that's the one of the nice things. And then the other ones that we have on that list is, of course, consensus. We've talked about in our webinar quite a bit, which I think is really nice for sort of an initial literature search, really giving you lots of those references. Now, there's a couple of others that do a similar job, but just having worked with consensus a little bit, I find it's just a little bit slimmer, a little bit better organized on the UI, and I really like what they've done graphically with the tool, and it's pretty quick with the little summaries and whatnot. So it's quite a useful little app, specifically when you're just getting started with the literature review. And on that note, we're also currently writing a paper that we're submitting tomorrow, I think, where we actually interviewed some librarians about what it means to
Different
work
AI
with
tools.
AI. Exactly, what does it mean to work with AI for your literature review? And it's a quite interesting thing. Obviously can't really talk about it until it's published, but that's going to be a very interesting study, to get kind of some of that feedback that's out there about using these tools. So yeah, hopefully that's useful to some people. Another thing that I think we had a chat about this too, and I actually had a chat about this with my students as well. is Jenny AI. That's gotten a
Mhm.
lot of traction on social media. And like I said, it's actually one of our former students working at that company and working with them. So obviously we're very proud in
Yeah.
that regard. But I do also think there is something about these writing help tools that are out there that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I know the Struggling Scientists on their podcast, and they have really nice affiliate deals with Jenny AI and kind of advertise that a lot. Um, I think there is something to be said about this writing help and getting unstuck as you're in the writing process. But one of the things that I'm noticing is I'm not using it as much as I think I would.
Mhm.
So I kind of initially was in this enchantment stage and used it a lot. But on my day to day, I don't use it as much as I thought I was going to use it. And the thing that I like the most about it is essentially the added functionality where you chat with a PDF. That is
Mhm.
definitely the tool I use the most there, where you upload a PDF, you chat with a PDF, and then you can insert that right into your writing flow. So I guess in terms of like having everything together, it really kind of helps you have all of the stuff in one editor and one web
Mhm.
interface, and that's really nice. But I honestly thought at the beginning that this was going to be much smoother, this co-writing, and it's really not, because a lot of the times I go back, I edit it, I'm not happy with what the AI has written for me. I was just like, okay, this is not how I would do it, and so it's usually a bit easier to just prompt in Typing Mind or somewhere else and get some feedback from there, or even Gemini, right? Like just having Gemini open and having a little bit of a discussion with Gemini, and then adding some of those insights. So yeah, I really find myself more, because this is really like a co-writing assistant, an assistant that comes in and writes like the stuff for you. I find it's better if you have sort of a chatting assistant as you're doing the writing process, because the writing process is actually fun for me anyways. There might be other people out there.
Yeah, that is tough part, because I personally realized with my writing for my dissertation, it's tough to start. It's really tough. This
Mm,
blank page syndrome or the writer's block is real. I
yeah,
felt that quite some times. But when I start, I realize that I cannot stop, on certain cases,
yeah,
and I write unstoppable for a couple of, let's say, days, or even sometimes 2 3 weeks
yeah,
every day, and then I feel more comfortable. But I don't use this AI tool as well personally,
mm,
saying maybe they could be useful. For example, if you write the blog post, or if you write uh, anything else, but not for academic work. I don't use, for
yeah,
example, the Jenny AI kind of tools
yeah,
personally, but I see a lot of cases where students really praising and using these tools. But by the way, it's a proud moment for your university. I total, and now that's $1 million startup, and so that could be nice for some, but at least in my case, I couldn't manage to find the ways to integrate these kind of tools to my workflow, because I really
yeah.
want to write old style,
Mhm.
my own way. The upgrade with writing this dictate function with author kind of tools,
Yeah.
or even with Word, the word processor itself, simply you can
Yeah.
just dictate. So for my writing part, if I don't have I if I am in rush or something, I just dictate and then I edit this text. So
Yeah.
that is the highest involvement of the technology in my
So are
writing
you
process.
when you're doing the dictation, are you using Otter for that, or are you using a different tool? Because I
I
I I
tested
do that with
Otter.
Otter. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Otter.
Otter
Yeah.
is really good. So the
Mm.
the word processors, this comprehension is not that well as well, because you have to do heavy editing job after dictating on word processor directly, because
Yeah.
a lot of spelling errors, a lot of commas, dots, grammars, it's not there. But with
Mhm.
Otter kind of tools, it's definitely doing better. And I just want to plug in my own video about consensus, by the way. Last week, I published a detailed analysis, detailed review of the consensus tool as well. This is one of
Mhm.
the, I think, really one of the good ones in the market right now, which it's now they updated their interface as well. It's more cleaner. And if anyone wants to check that video, it's available on my YouTube channel. Please check that one as well. So I plugged in my advertisement, Leonard. Did you like it?
Yeah, I was gonna see if I can pull that up real quick, but I don't have
By
it
the way,
ready
you a
here.
couple of weeks ago you also prepared a nice one. I think around 20
Yeah,
minutes consensus video. Leonard also have. Please
um,
check either of us YouTube channels. You will find this video tutorial on consensus if you want to use it. And
let me just see if I can pop
and
that
in Jenny AI, I remember about our friend Elman always.
there.
So
That's it, right?
yeah,
That's your
that's the
video.
AI tool. Yeah, I just published a
Yeah,
couple of days ago.
yeah,
And if
exciting.
you want to learn more about
Definitely one of the
consensus,
best AI.
yes, it's if you want to learn about consensus more, please check. By the way, Leonard has a bit longer tutorial. If you want more detailed review, please check Leonard's channel. If you want a bit quick, shorter review of this tool, please check my channel. But by the way, if you have time, please watch both, because you will have different perspectives, because I use it on totally different research
True.
field. So you tested it totally in this different research field, and I think that could be nice and helpful. So Otter AI
Yeah.
will already started. I think it's one of your favorites, Otter AI. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like just for a lot of things, just in experiments, we always used to get transcripts. Now it's all Otter is really great at just transcribing things perfectly for us, but also just getting your thoughts. And they have this Otter bot or whatever in there now, which I'm really enjoying. Like I can have a long meeting and then I can open that Otter bot and chat with my transcript. So that's like chatting with a PDF.
That's
So, and it's perfect when you're giving a lecture, right? Like you're giving a lecture and then you're just chatting with, okay, so what did I actually say? What are the main takeaways from my lecture here?
it's kind of
And
chatting with your own past, huh?
it's with your past self. You just have a
Yes,
discussion with yourself 2 hours ago, and you're like, oh, this is
exactly.
you. This is useful. This is neat. So I definitely am using that quite a bit, and that's quite useful. And then of course,
Yeah,
PaperPal is sort of, I think, a classic in there. Definitely been working with that quite a bit when I work with Word. I said before I don't really work with Word that much, but when I do, that's definitely the go-to plugin there. Just makes a lot of things easier, gives you, paraphrasing and just like a lot of little things, kind of like what I said about Jenny. It just kind of has everything under one hood, so it just makes a lot of things easier, and it's clearly targeted to academics. So there's that benefit of it as well. And then, yeah, so pretty much the alternative to that is Writeful. If
yeah,
you're working in LaTeX and you're working in Overleaf, which I do quite a lot for my writing, then Writeful has this nice plugin to work right in the editor. Just kind of give you some suggestions and give you some writing suggestions and everything. It's really neat as sort of an invisible editor. Like both of these, Paperwell and Writeful, are sort of editors. One is more for LaTeX, one is more for Word, but both do a great job when it comes to that. And then I also chatted about Hemingway before. Hemingway's always
hmm
been my favorite for editing. I really love the word count and everything, and it's free. But it also has this AI add-on, which is really cheap. I think you get like thousands of tokens or whatever per month.
yeah.
Um, and it is kind of nice. It's not perfect, but it is kind of nice to kind of break up sentences and kind of help you. Like when I write my newsletter, it always goes through Hemingway at the end to just kind of see where can I improve, where can I make it a little bit more fluent. And also to just kind of be aware, okay, I want to break the rules in this sentence, right? Like I like to add a lot of punchy writing, full stops where they probably shouldn't be, but it just kind of helps giving a little bit more of a staccato feel to the reading flow, and that's kind of nice to do with an app like that. Just kind of helps you pinpoint
And
that. Yeah.
please allow me to ask you a question about Hemingway app, because upon your recommendation, I tested it heavily, and I really do like it.
Hmm.
Specifically, this different color schemes,
Yeah.
so marking the different sentences and for different purposes with different color.
Yeah.
I really do like that. And how do you use it? You first type on the word and then put it on Hemingway
Exactly.
for. So
It's the
it's
last pass. It's always the
yeah.
last pass in Hemingway. So it just I copy it over. It gives me that nice colorful markup. And then you can select two. So for me, of course, I can't do fifth grade language or whatever. Or it has like seventh grade language, which is great if you're writing for the public, you're
Yeah.
writing on Twitter or whatever. But if you're writing an academic paper, that's not going to cut it. So you can up that level with the pro subscription to postgraduate or whatever it is, which is then more akin to the kind of writing that you do in an academic paper. And then it's just up to you to make those choices. So obviously, for a lot of the stuff, I will not remove all of the red. Like every once in a while, there's going to be a long, complicated sentence in there. That's just the nature of academic writing. But for most of the time, I like that up and down flow. So if you had that long sentence there, then you got to make up for it. You got to get the reader's attention budget back. So you got to write a couple of shorter sentences to really kind of lead up to the next complicated long sentence. So that way you have an ebb and flow, and it just reads nicer. But yeah, of course, the goal is not to remove all of it. Like, don't remove all of the complexity in an academic paper. Anyways, yeah, sure. If you're writing for the public, absolutely do remove it, but not in academic papers. So.
Yeah. That's great way. Exactly the
Yeah.
way I use the Hemingway as well. So
Yeah.
Site AI, I think
Site
this
AI,
is,
yeah.
this is
You tell me
one
about
of,
that. That's one of your favorites, no?
yeah, exactly. I tested it heavily. By the way,
Yeah.
there's also a couple of videos about this AI tool on my YouTube channel. It has many features, but among all of them, so basically the tools in the market have this similar features,
Yeah.
but specific features for Site AI. One of them is smart citations, where at the same time, after clicking on these smart citation features on the website of the site, you can see the contrasting, supporting, and just mentioning citations from different sources. For example, you found an article and you need to find more supporting articles. So with this,
Gotcha.
with these measures under each article. By the way, it also has an extension for the browsers where you can just put this extension turn on, and then you can see, if you go to the academic articles website, it will show you how many times the sources was. The best part of this is also a multi-million project, which is signing individual agreements with publishing houses, and they specifically sign, and so there's different agreements with them, so in order to access the corpus of these publishing houses. And the second feature, this site assistant. So as far as I remember, so these two features are the top tier features of this tool. And Site Assistant can help you also to start to defy this writer's block as well. You can, for Site Assistant, you can either use the corpus of the site itself, or you can even upload a couple of papers, then ask Site Assistant to draft a very short kind of, like, say, introduction or anything else for you. Then you can read it. So I am not a big fan of it, but I know the way how it could be helpful, because, for example, let's say you have a couple of ideas. You just type your ideas as a text, as a very plain text, and then ask Site Assistant to create it, to generate a text for you, of course, by referring to the sources. And then you can start reading these sources. And when you start reading these sources, you will definitely have access by diving into the footnotes of those papers. You will definitely find your way. So it could be a nice start there. As far as I remember, these two features are the distinguishing features of the Site AI.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's definitely one of those things that make it a well-rounded tool, right? Like, again, something that fits quite nicely and distinguishes itself from some of the other ones that are out there, just in terms of the ability that it gives you to kind of play with the literature, but then also, start a conversation with the literature, and then also to get started with writing your paper in a very smooth way that leads you directly from, I've just read about this, let's put this into my paper. So that's really, the workflow is nice and integrated. Perplexity, I think, is replacing Google for me these days. It's just a really nice way to get started. It's pretty much like a Google search, but AI based. That and Arc search, of course. In Arc, with Arc Max now, if you have the Arc browser, you can just hit Shift Enter when you put in a search query, and it'll do kind of the same thing. I just think Perplexity is a little bit more rounded. Arc search will just do it and pop you to the best possible result, and sometimes that best possible result is just a website, whereas
Mhm.
Perplexity will always engage the assistant and provide some sort of answer. So it feels much more like I'm sending an assistant off to do a task. They will look it up on the internet for me and come back with the results. Kind of what you think Siri should be doing. Because
Yeah, hopefully it will.
hopefully with Apple Intelligence at some point it
Yeah,
will like be like Perplexity, but right now it's like, okay, give me this thing and then it'll just send me a bunch of websites. Like, can you not synthesize that somehow? So yeah, good job on that end for Perplexity, I guess.
let's see. Yeah, let's see how Siri will perform on that extent. But Perplexity
Yeah.
is definitely one of the go-to tools in the market now, and I used it a lot. I tested for multiple. Of course, it's not specifically dedicated for academic purposes, but any
No, it's
purposes.
just
If
searching.
you, yeah, if you just need to write down with sources, it gives you the sources as well. Just
Yeah.
numbering the after each sentence almost, and then by clicking on it, or just under the generated text, you will see the different sources to the text, different texts. So that's nice tool. And Speechify, I think, is one of your the last one
Yeah.
is your favorite.
Yeah, I don't, I'm kind of lukewarm about it because they are just too expensive. They need to change their pricing model. I honestly do not like their price. But since I've already paid for it, I'm gonna make the most use out of it. Am I gonna renew that subscription? Absolutely not, because you're charging me an arm and a leg for
Mhm.
functionality that I get from Readwise and other tools as well. But I do like, to have papers narrated in my own voice. That's kind of cool. Like
Yeah,
call me call me a little bit funny, but that's just I don't know, it's something to kind of listen to yourself telling yourself something that's been written down that just kind of works as I'm like reading through papers. So it's really good for reading papers, reading like some of those initial articles for me, and I do tend to enjoy it for that matter. But yeah, that pricing, I cannot wholeheartedly recommend it just because of the pricing structure. But it's definitely useful, and there's not a lot of good competitors in that space. Like the other ones that I've tested are not as smooth. So it is definitely the smoothest when it comes to that text to speech bit.
and that brings us to today's session's first part about the different
Yes.
AI tools. That was kind of I feel like that was kind of a little webinar,
That was a mini
Leonard, for
webinar. we,
mini
we, we,
webinar.
we
Yeah,
did a free
for
mini webinar. Hold on.
yeah.
This calls for a big advertising thing. Let me just see if I can hit that button fast enough. Boom. If you're interested in more of that,
Yes,
you should check
exactly.
this thing out. Okay,
Exactly.
anyways, but yeah,
There, yeah, that was 3 hour webinar
yeah,
with
uh,
Leonard. We talked about different techniques used. So you gave the great tips for prompt engineering. So
yeah,
dozens of, I think, until today, dozens of our participants really love it. We got
yeah,
nice testimonials,
great feedback.
and
Yeah,
we analyzed, and we went to the website of different, I think it's 15 different AI tools for academic
yeah,
purposes,
yeah,
with individual use cases on my part as well. So
yeah,
you can check, you can scan this code on the
yeah,
screen, or you can go to the link provided on our multiple channels on YouTube, on X, and different channels. You can find this link as
yeah,
well. So just check it. If you like it, take it and enjoy it.
yeah. Okay, so
You
another
sent
thing
me
we wanted
something
to
today. Yeah.
Yeah, another thing we wanted to talk about is this. I'm just gonna see if I can find that really quick and share it. Because
But that didn't take me surprising, because that is kind of expecting. I think more popular the phenomena on different channels will face similar stuff
yeah,
more in coming future, because I daily see a lot of AI tools where you can just clone yourself or anyone
yeah,
and start posting about anything which is that person or yourself is not totally related. And this in this case, one person, the female person, was
oh,
found on internet that
yeah, I
that
gotta switch to
yeah,
that. channel so that we can actually see it. But yeah, this person here, and yeah, she's done some videos on psychology.
So this is her real page, or
this is her real page, yeah.
yeah.
And I'm just trying to find. Oh yeah, Made in China. That was the one. So that was the one where she. I don't know if we have audio from this
Last
thing,
Wednesday, I
but
woke up, habitually went to check
you
my
can see it
phone,
in
and
the
saw this
descriptions
message.
there that
Do you
she
speak
kind
any
of
Mandarin?
woke up
I think
and
someone steals
she
your photos and
found
videos
out
on Chinese
that she
social
had been
media.
cloned, right? Like
At
she's
that
sort of
moment, I had already known that
yeah,
someone
her
was
background is
free-uploading my
Ukrainian,
YouTube
so that's
content
also
to Chinese
interesting, right?
social
Like
media
with the war
websites,
going on,
which
and then she
was
was
annoying but didn't
found to
bother
be
me too
promoting
much.
Russian.
But when I went to check the
And I hear
links this
also her.
person
Do you
sent
hear
me
her
alongside their
as well?
message,
I do
I
not
was
hear her.
shocked.
I hear her.
当全世界都在给俄
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I can talk, and this doesn't
Yes,
happen at the same
please.
time. But yeah, so that those were the deep fakes that you can see here, right? Like, and obviously deep fake in translations in Mandarin. I think that was the big thing. Just kind of took off in China somewhere, and she didn't notice until somebody pointed it out to her. And then she's like, look, this has got 600,000 followers. Her own channel has only 17,000 something. And without that visibility, it is a bit I think it's a bit concerning, right? Like you find yourself, and I think that's what happens if you're like in the public eye. You put videos on YouTube, and people eventually start doing that, and they shouldn't, right? And the software, there should always be a fail safe. But this is something we talked about before, because people are rushing with some of the software. There's not enough security at the beginning, right? And so this can happen, and that's a problem, right? Like there should always be the thing where you have to do a phrase and you have to narrate that phrase. It's like an unlock key kind of situation. That then enables you to use that avatar. But some of these things, 11 Labs didn't even have that. They have that now, but when they started, they didn't have that, and they're doing the best voice cloning out there, and they got all that popularity from their presidential clones that people obviously instantly did. So yeah, I think it's tricky. I think it's really tricky.
So basically, someone took the images and videos of one Ukrainian female and
and then
made videos in Chinese,
yeah,
pro-Russian pro-Russian propaganda in China, kind of that. Yeah.
It's strange. It's a strange story, but I think that's one of the things to to think about of what can happen with some of these technologies if they're not regulated and if they are not limited. But I think that's a little bit concerning, if stuff like that can easily happen. So if you're working in a tech company and you're doing AI, it's just another call out there to do it responsibly. Really, it is important to not just do the tech because it's possible, but do it so in a safe way. This is not a situation where you can run fast and break things, but you need to be
Exactly.
a little bit conscientious as you're building that. Okay.
Exactly. Specifically, this kind of use case is dangerous, specifically in the cases during the election periods, for example.
Yeah.
And
that's coming up, right? Like there's big stuff coming up for that.
And the people without tech literacy, even the ordinary people, cannot distinguish between the reality and the fakely generated AI texts or videos or anything else. And I think huge dangerous potential there as well. So for manipulation, for different wrongdoings as well. I saw a lot of last. I think one of the person used AI to manipulate his boss in video chats and stealing money from the company by video talk, because he assumed the I think the CEO or was something like that. Even CEO level persons cannot sometimes distinguish this kind of what is real and what is not. And definitely dangerous part of the AI coming into our lives. So I think that was non-academic part of today's session. But I think we decided to talk about it because it is
I did want to give a quick shout out to Ella, who said she's in a hospital bed and recovering. So well wishes to you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and and watching us today. And hopefully this brought some entertainment and information
Yeah,
to you.
we wish you speedy recovery and
Yeah.
continue watching us when you're out.
Yeah. And one of the things I did want to announce in today's show is also that next week we're running this thesis fast track seminar where we're thinking about, or where we're helping people get unstuck with their thesis writing. This is together with Ali Hindi, that some people might know from LinkedIn. And this is not AI related, but we really wanted to help people get their thesis done and on track much faster. So this is a webinar that's happening really soon, and we'd really be excited to share it with more people. And yeah, hopefully some folks will sign up. Links right
Definitely
here.
great value for almost, definitely
Super
great
cheap.
value. I do definitely recommend taking these tools because I saw a lot of posts of him on LinkedIn. High value. So your work is obvious on multiple platforms as well, and I highly recommend this course. If you are a PhD, specifically for PhD, or maybe even for people who are doing LLM, writing their dissertation. So this course is definitely for you.
Yeah. And that about wraps it up. Just a quick reminder, if you want to follow us on any of those socials, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Medium, I think is sort of the main ones that we're playing around with. This podcast is also on Substack, which I actually found out you can host podcasts, which is awesome. And so I just put it up there. And there's a way to get all the older episodes as well, if you like what we're doing here. Please leave a rating for us if you're watching this after the fact. If you're not watching it live, leave a rating on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I think next week we're going to be off. We're going to take a little bit of a hiatus because Vugar's on vacation.
Yeah, I am already, but I wanted to do this one today because I really do like talk with you, Lennart, as usual. So we will announce the next coming session, of course, on our multiple channels. Please tune in and see you or hear you in our next session.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
Ciao.